This movie was a lot of fun. Just a lot of pure, unadulterated, unfiltered fun. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is the 7th movie in the Spider-Man franchise. If you don't count Venom, it is the 8th, if you do. And this is a animated superhero film based on the comics of the same name, based on Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, yada yada. And it is a standalone film in the Spider-Man franchise, and it is set in a shared multiverse called the Spider-Verse. And the plot of this awesome Spider-Man film is Miles Morales is the new one on the scene. Of course, he admires Spider-Man, and he's struggling to adjust to his boarding score and live up to the expectations of his parents, who views Spider-Man as nothing but a menace. But he develops a crush on his classmate Wanda, and Miles seeks his uncle Aaron Davis for advice. So they go to an abandoned subway one day where he can draw, and he gets bitten by a genetically modified spider, and he develops spider-like abilities. And basically what happens is Wilson and Fisk, aka the Kingpin, uses a super collider, and another Spider-Man in the form of Peter Parker from another dimension accidentally winds up in Miles' world. And as Peter tries to become a better Spider-Man, they are soon joined by 4 other Spider-Man. And these 4 Spider-Man are Spider-Man Noir, Penny Parker, aka with the robot, SPDR, Peter Porker, Spider-Ham, and of course Gwen Stacy, aka Spider-Gwen. So, in order for them to get back home, and the other dimensions begins to tear Brooklyn apart, Miles must help the others stop Fisk and return everyone to their own dimensions before it's too late. Going into Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, at first, initially, I wasn't really excited for it because I think it was because of my little hatred for Venom being released on the same year. So I ended up putting both this and Venom on my least anticipated of 2018 video, and now I realize how stupid of me to do that. Because after watching the other trailers and watching the teaser trailer a couple more times, I said, you know what, this looks interesting. Why am I even complaining? And I love the other Spider-Man films, the Sam Raimi trilogy and Spider-Man Homecoming. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 I still like, and Amazing Spider-Man 1 I truly hate. And I mean hate. With a burning passion. And also when I found out that it was going to be multiple Spider-Mans and who were all going to be in it, I got even more excited. So I went ahead and gave the movie a chance and watched it, and this movie was a lot of fun. I'm telling you, this movie is so much heart, so much awesomeness, so much good here. It's a lot of great. This movie's got a lot of acclaim. It has a certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and it definitely deserves it. It's doing really well at the box office, $246 million. against a budget of $90 million. And this was released back in December, but this movie worked. I really loved Spider-Verse. It was really amazing. I really loved the idea of a world where you have multiple Spider-Mans. And I really loved the idea of Miles Morales as Spider-Man. That I really like his character. He was really unique because of his Brooklyn upbringing. He's half Brooklyn, half African American, half Puerto Rican, and I really like that about him. He actually goes through struggle in this movie. Him living up to the task of his parents, him wanting to be Spider-Man, him trying to get the crush on the new girl. Basically, yeah, he goes through struggles. He's not invincible. He goes through struggles just like Peter Parker. And I really like him. Now, Peter B. Parker, basically he is the mentor. He's a disheveled version of the hero. And he is pop culture reference to all Spider-Man interpretation and adaptation. So he's basically like the Mr. Miyagi of the Karate Kid franchise and the Spider-Man franchise. And I thought it was a very different Peter Parker that we have not seen before. And Chris Pine and that was really cool. And also the version of Spider-Man in Miles' universe. And it combines elements from all Spider-Man portrayals. And it's competent and different. It's very different. I really like that. And the animation, of course, is really great. There are a lot of times where it felt like you were reading a comic book, because the comic book panels, something from a comic book would just splash onto the screen. It felt like a comic book, reading a comic book, and I really give credit to the animation and the animators and filmmakers who came up with the idea. The humor is really well done. I really love the humor in this movie. The humor works very well, of course, because you have Phil Lord, who came up with the story. Phil Lord and Chris Miller, they also produced the film. And that was really awesome. And it combines hand-drawn comic book techniques with CGI animation. And the combination together is just some of the best animation. The animation style is really amazing in this movie. I really love the animation in this film. It's amazing. And was also really awesome is seeing villains that we have never seen before in the film, animated or live action. Kingpin, it was great seeing Kingpin. It was also really great seeing Dr. Olivia Octavius, Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, the Chameleon, the Scorpion. That was awesome. That was all incredible. I can't go on and not mention the cameo by the late Stan Lee, in which he gives the Spider-Man costume to Miles Morales. And it was important. And they gave him a bigger moment in the film than just a passing cameo, because he was the inspiration. It is a very meaningful role. And whenever you watch a film with a Stan Lee cameo, now that he's no longer with us, you are going to be feeling very emotional. I did when I saw the cameo, but I was also very pleased that they would do that. The music is really great. I like the score, and I really like the soundtrack. The soundtrack is also really... I know it's basically hip-hop oriented music, and it represents what a teenager will listen to. But you know, I was into it. I like the score. Yeah, I like the soundtrack. I have to listen to the soundtrack again, but I really like the soundtrack. The film is an hour and 57 minutes. It does not feel like it. It goes by quick. This movie goes by quick. It plays no games. And the story is really amazing. I love the characterization of everyone in this film. From Peter and Miles to Gwen to everyone. Let me just say the voice acting is really amazing. Shameik Moore as Miles Morales. He nails it as his character. And there's also been talks of him saying he would like to do this character in live action. If so, that's all I gotta say from that facial reaction. That's my happy face. Jake Johnson and Chris Pine plays Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Both the disheveled version, which is Jake Johnson, and Chris Pine of the Miles universe. They are really great here too. You also got Brian Tyree Henry as Jefferson Davis Morales. He's the police officer, and he's really great. The one scene at the beginning of this movie where he makes Miles say "I love you" in front of everyone, that was embarrassing. But it was also really funny. It was even funny when I saw it in the trailer. I was like, this is embarrassing, but it's also really funny. You also got Mahershala Ali as Aaron Davis, aka Prowler, who's also a villain we haven't seen, so that was really awesome. You have Lily Tomlin as May Parker, Luna Lauren Velez as Rio Morales, John Mulaney as Peter Porker, aka Spider-Ham. It's so weird, but it's also really funny. You have Spider-Ham. I would love to see a spin-off of that character. And they're working on it. They're working on a sequel and several spin-offs, including one for the standout, which I am going to get to. Kimiko Glenn as Penny Parker. I thought she was really great too. I loved she's a young Japanese girl as an anime-like universe who co-pilots the robot suit wherever at Spider. That was great. Liev Schreiber plays Kingpin. And then you do have Zoe Kravitz as Mary Jane Watson, Lake Bell as Vanessa Fisk. You have archival recordings of Cliff Robertson used, in which Uncle Ben, which Stan Lee, he also voices J. Jonah Jameson, as well as it has a posthumous cameo in the post-credit scene. A role that he wanted to play before he died in the sequel, but yeah. Also, Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir from the 1930s. Nicolas Cage is a great actor. I like him here than in Ghost Rider. He's good in Ghost Rider, but he's a little over the top in those movies. Nicolas Cage, he's a great actor. Sometimes he doesn't pick the best of films, sometimes, but for any bad film, there's always a good film. But let's get into it. The scene stealer in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy, aka Spider-Gwen. I loved the heck out of this character, Gwen Stacy, Spider-Woman. It's very different from the Gwen Stacy that we have seen from Bryce Dallas Howard and Emma Stone. And she is the second actress singer to voice the character of Gwen Stacy. This first actress, of course, was Dove Cameron in Marvel Rising Secret Warriors, and in the episode of Ultimate Spider-Man where they do something similar like this. With just the three main ones, Peter, Miles, and Gwen. And Haley Steinfeld, she is a great actress. She is a great singer. She's an Oscar nominee, and she fits. And I did look at an interview that she did, and she said it was always her dream to play a female superhero, and she fits the bill. She did her thing. She killed it in this movie. I'm like, woo! Her introduction was probably the best introduction out of all of them. They each do comic style, like where they say their name. And she said her name's. I really liked her, the way she came in later on to the film. She was very funny. She was very awesome, and she's pretty cool. And the costume looks very well done. I thought she had a lot of moments of being a badass. And Haley Steinfeld, she's a great actress, and not only in this movie but also in other movies before this: Ender's Game, Barely Lethal, Pitch Perfect 2, and Pitch Perfect 3, the 2010 True Grit remake. And she's even great in Bumblebee, which I'll get to. But yes, her and Miles Morales are the two standouts in this movie. And I really love a lot of the emotional moments that this movie has. I really enjoy what this movie really did. And Spider-Verse, I give Sony credit for doing something different. And I also really love the beginning of this movie, where you have the opening logos and they act a little glitchy and funny, going to different time periods of each logo, especially the Columbia logo. That was really surprising to see. So they did that really amazingly well. Even though I'm still mad at Venom, at Sony for Venom, I can forgive it because Spider-Verse was this darn good. I would love to see sequels to this. I would love to see Haley Steinfeld's character get her own movie, in which they are planning. Bring it on. And this is something the MCU, I don't think they'd be able to do it, but I would love to see them try and do this. There's a lot of fun to be had in this movie. This was a very different kind of superhero film. And this movie is nominated for a Golden Globe and for Best Animated Feature, it deserves to have an Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature. And this movie's doing well at the box office, and I would love to have this in my collection. And I would I've seen this movie now 10 times. Alright, 10 times I've watched this movie. That's how much I love it. This was my favorite superhero movie of last year, and this is definitely going to be on the best movies of 2018 when I get to it. I'm just reviewing the last couple of films first, as well as doing these other top 10 lists I need to do. But yeah, Spider-Man to Spider-Verse, I spent probably enough time talking about it. I should probably go ahead and wrap it up. With all the stuff I just mentioned, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse definitely gets my personal Spider-Verse Bronze Rainbow Seal of Approval. For being that good of a film. I gotta tell you, I'm impressed. And not only I'm impressed, I also showed the movie to my mom. She really liked it. And she's a Spider-Man fan herself. And I also told her that Haley Steinfeld is in it, and she's a fan of Haley Steinfeld as well. So, yeah, I'm praising this movie like crazy, but it deserves it. So let me know what you guys think of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse down below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? If you hate it, I don't know who would hate this movie. Of course, if you really didn't have any interest from the start. But as far as the Spider-Man ranking now, number 7 is The Amazing Spider-Man 2012. Thinking about it more, like I said, I truly now hate The Amazing Spider-Man 1. Number 6 is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Number 5 is Spider-Man 2002. Number 2 is Spider-Man 2 from Sam Raimi. Number 3 is Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 2 is Spider-Man 3, which was originally number 1, and number 1 in this ranking is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This is my new favorite Spider-Man movie now. Spider-Man 3 will still be second best, and it will always be my favorite of the Sam Raimi trilogy, but Spider-Man 3, you've been dethroned by a movie with multiple Spider-Mans. So that goes on your resume a little bit. But anyways, let's continue. Thanks for watching this. Be sure to follow all my social media links. Let's continue the road to 1K subscribers. You guys keep it cool. Be sure to use the hashtags FutureFilmmaker39480 and join the Epitasticness hashtags. You guys keep it cool as always. And again, join the Epitasticness. This is Future Filmmaker 39480 signing out. I'm pretty sure by the time this is uploaded, I'm probably going to be getting a lot of comments of people saying how much they love this movie. And if you ain't one of those people who see it, go see it. This is fun, because this was fun. This is fun. Bye.